Hey, it's Troy, and it was a pretty good pen day for us today. Got 5 pens in the mail today, so I wanted to cover some of those. And it really dovetails into the last video that I did on collecting vintage pens. I want to throw out a tip first, though. You know, right up the street, well, I can't really say that. It's, I mean, within a couple of miles of my house, right off the interstate, because I live right near an interstate, we have a store called JR's, and they are one of the largest tobacco distributors. They sell, I mean, there was a lady in front of us who got 10 cartons of Salem cigarettes for like 53 bucks a carton and whipped out a wad full of cash for it. So, I mean, she was paying $560 including tax for a bunch of cigarettes. Well, they have one of the largest cigar selections anywhere, and a gigantic walk-in humidor, all kinds of stuff that they sell. One of the things that they sell, though, are cigar boxes. So when you talk about cigar-shaped fountain pens and some of your oversized pens, one of the things I look for is perhaps a cigar box. They sell their old cigar boxes once they're emptied. And it's kind of a hit or miss. Once they're empty, they throw them into a cart and they set them outside the humidor as you walk in and you look around. And I went there one day just to see what they might have. And so, just for some of my oversized pens that I've got that will not fit into, let's say, my set of drawers that I've got, which is right there behind me, underneath my trusty telephone, you know, the larger ones don't fit. So I went ahead and got that, and actually had the nice little Churchill-size cigar little cutouts where they would sit. And there's another one here. It's just an empty box. I may do something nice on the inside of that. But anyway, I picked up a couple of boxes, $2 a piece. Just throwing that out as a tip. So in case any of you run across where you wanted some kind of storage for your oversized pens, just an idea. So, hey, here's a question. What is better than one of these? What is better than, a Waterman Karen? How about 2 Waterman Karens? Yep, got another one in the mail today. My wife had been wanting one. She's seen mine for months, loved it, and she oohed and awed over it, and she's been wanting one of her own, so I got one today. I'm not about to go dig it out. I'll show you a picture of it because it is tucked away inside her purse, and I'm not the kind who's going to go rummage through my wife's purse and incur her wrath. So, here we go. Hey, let's follow up with my video that I just recently posted, like I was just saying, on some of collecting vintage pens. I said to expect the worst. Expect that pens are going to be in a worse condition than what you initially anticipated. That way, you know, when the pens arrive, you might be surprised in a good way. So let me show you a couple of those surprises. This right here is another Waterman. I said that I had like 5 Watermans on the way. 4 of them arrived just today. This is a Waterman CF. And a CF just means nothing but cartridge filler. So you've got a nicely shaped little nib on this Waterman. One of the things about these that was a little frustrating to me today, you know, this one, it takes a cartridge. Now you notice that cartridge is full. I'll explain that here in just a little bit. But I'll share with you a tip on that. So I got this in the mail today. It was just by itself. It didn't come in a fancy box or anything, and that's fine. I didn't pay a whole lot of money. I think maybe 10 bucks or less to be able to get this shipped. This is not one of their more expensive pens that Waterman came out with. And if you'll notice, this has got a plastic section here. This is not the only Waterman CF I got today, actually, and I'll compare the two. So, one of the things I found out about that particular pen, and I have right here, and I should have gotten this out ahead of time, but I have Waterman converters, right? Well, guess what? Waterman converters, even though I got a bunch of them, they don't fit those little pens. So let me show you that other Waterman CF that I got. It came in a nice little box like this, and let me take this out. And I'll put my hand up here so they don't fall out. But you notice it's an old Waterman's box. And this is a pen and pencil set. And this is the Waterman CF. And you can see right on the side, it says right here that it's a CF 1250 medium flex, $12.50. Right there. So this looks just like the other one. So let me put that cap down, put that cap down. You'll notice that they look very much alike. They're not the same, however. You'll see that the You know, the semi-hooded nib on this one is just a little different. The section here is metal, the section here is plastic, metal, plastic. All right. So, and this is very different too when you go to flush them. One of the things I ended up doing is flushing these pens from the get-go because I knew at least one of them was going to have to, because when I touched the ink or the tip, I got ink on my finger, but it wasn't one of these two. However, when I did go flush them out, I could tell that this one had some residual blue ink that was in it, and I flushed and flushed and flushed, and quite honestly, this is a difficult one to flush. You may or may not be able to see it, but you see those little holes? Those little holes right there make it extremely difficult to flush with a bulb syringe. You're not able to have it go all the way through the section because a lot of it's squirting out those holes. So we had a lot of squirting going on today when I was flushing, and I'll show you the pen that really caused the worst of it. But these two pens, both CF cartridge filler pens by Waterman. Both from about the same era. So you figure $12.50 was probably from what, the 1960s maybe? I'd have to do a little more research to find out when these were made. But they both take the same cartridge, which brings me back to this little thing that came in it. Thankfully, because these do not take converters, this is an old cartridge and it's sealed, but there's no real ink left in it. So what I was able to do is use a trick that I've used before on other cartridges. If you don't have one in your collection, you really need one of this. All it is just a little syringe. You know, we get syringes like this every time we end up buying medicine for the children when they had an infection or an ear infection or something, just without this part here. So you get a little syringe like this, and this is just nothing but a flat or a stub needle that goes on here, and I was able to take the cartridge, because one of them was already punctured, and flush it out really, really well, so it was clear. Then I took another cartridge that was full, just like well, ostensibly like that one, although it wasn't full because for years it's been there. And what I did was I punctured that one, flushed it out really, really well. And I went ahead and put some ink in both of them. I think one of them I put Dragon's Napalm by Noodlers, and the other one I put a Noodlers Blue, what kind of blue was it? Blue Eel. So I put Blue Eel in this one. I put Noodler's Dragon's Napalm. They both write fairly well. I cannot complain about the way they write, considering their age. I was actually, when I said expect the worst, well, I was surprised in a pleasant way when I got these. Let me show you the writing sample of those. Now, Dragon's Napalm is more kind of an orangey ink. It kind of looked reddish orange, but you can see here, that's the Dragon's Napalm in that red CF, and that is the Blue Eel from Noodlers. So those kind of wrote fairly nice. One of the things I found out is that blue one, it writes fairly well. It's there's a little feedback on it, but that's fine. I didn't expect tremendous quality because it is one of their lower end pens. The Noodlers Dragon's Napalm, it wrote smoothly. It was just a little bit of feedback on it, but it was still a decent writer. So I cannot complain. So that's two of my Watermans that arrived today. The third one was my wife's. And let me show you my fourth one. Nice little box, and here it is. This one here is, let me pull that out, a Waterman Expert 2. Now, when I said inspect pictures very well when you go to buy online, I ordered this one from England. It showed up today, and this one has just a little bit of blemish. You probably can't even see it, but it's between my two fingers there. It's got a little bit of blemish there. And when you see the pictures online, it looks huge. But actually, that right there, unless you hold it way up to a camera, just to the naked eye, it doesn't look so bad. So, all right, cool. I got a decent price on it. I couldn't complain. But it's that steel gunmetal blue with a nice, nice section. It's very comfortable to hold. And then I had this one flushed out pretty well. Waterman Paris. It's got the typical Waterman clip on it. Very stylish, very good-looking pen. Then I went to go write with it. And you know what? It did not write quite as well. What I did find is that it's a hard starter. I smoothed it out a little bit because it was a little rough in its writing. It skipped a little bit, hard starting. It works better on better quality paper than it does on, let's say, just an office pad kind of thing. It does take a converter, so I did have a converter to be able to put into it. It's better aesthetically, like I said, than it looked in the photos. But several times today it's been a hard starter. And I just had to press down a little bit, and then I got the flow going. So it's going to take a little bit of work to get on this one. That's why one of the things I say, expect that it's going to be worse than what you anticipate. This one here, I mean, aesthetically, gorgeous pen. Really like it. I like the way it feels. I like the way it's weighted. It's metal. It's not plastic. So I expected this one, actually, and even posted. Very comfortable to use. And if I can get this one writing a lot smoother and without the hard starts, then I'm going to be very, very happy with it. So going where these are a little more slender. I'm not a big fan of slender pens, but they're okay. Talking about skipping a little bit too. This one here, this one skipped a little bit on just an ordinary notepad. When I used some quality paper, it wrote better. So that's something to keep in mind too. The quality paper that you're using may or may not agree with all pens. This was one of them right here, and as well as this one. I had to fight with this one on a glossy kind of paper. On a notepad it didn't write so bad, but here's how it wrote down here, and I put in some of that Robert Oster's Tranquility, and I fought with it a little bit here, and like I said, it's been a hard starter, and it was skipping just a little bit, but it was writing a little bit better here. Like I said, I'm gonna have to spend some time with it. So, let's see what else. I told you about my son's pen haul that he had for his birthday. One that had not come in yet is this one right here. You can see it says Lamy right there. That's not focusing very well, but it's a Lamy. And this is their ABC School Pen. And this is maple right here. It's got a four-sided thing there on the end. Its finial is flat. It's got a flat surface here. What that's good for, since you got some flat surfaces here, flat surfaces there, it's a school pen made for children. It will not roll off the desk. It will stop rolling. And here is the nib. This is a rubberized section here, and it's got one, two, so it's got two flats on here, I'm assuming for little hands who are just learning how to write. That's probably why it's a school pen. Now, this pen, I was surprised. I shouldn't have been, because it's a Lamy, okay? Good quality pen. I paid $10.50 for this thing, plus shipping. It was an excellent writing pen. This is the one that squirted everywhere, though. It had some blue ink in it. At first I got some ink on my finger, and the description that I got said it was going to need to be flushed out. I already knew I needed a Lamy converter, so in one of my previous orders for pens, I went ahead and got a Lamy converter. Actually, I've ordered like 2 or 3 of them here recently because I've ordered a couple of Lamys. So, put the converter in, writes great, very, very smooth. I was really surprised. So, great score on a pen. So, actually great score for my son. But I was very impressed. To me, it's not the prettiest looking pen. It's unique. Almost looks like a small baseball bat, but my son loves it. So, and then it writes really, really smooth. I could not believe how well it wrote. So, Lamy ABC School Pen right there. And it's kind of funny because my son wanted, I let him pick out whatever ink he wanted. And he picked out one of the more expensive inks that I've got, the Pilot Iroshizuku Yamabudo, which is kind of a purplish color. And it was a good score. I can't complain. So, I made the wife happy. She's got a Waterman Karen. Just a side note, what I forgot to mention earlier, those little converter, the little cartridges in those CF Watermans, those little cartridges actually hold the better part of an ink vial. So, I use this to suck up the ink and put it into a flushed out cartridge. And, cartridges or vials that are usually up to here, it takes the majority of one of those vials. So, it's just kind of neat. Oh, and the other thing is, in my wife's, I've been using a lot of ink samples today. I mean, the Yamabudo, maybe you can see what that kind of looks like in the vial. I put that Robert Oster Tranquility into one of that Waterman. This one here was the Blue Eel. This one was the Dragon's Napalm. That's how it looks like in a vial. But what I put in my wife's was this one right here. It's Diatramentus Hyacinth. And it's the first scented ink that I've decided to try. Yeah, can you smell that? You smell it right there? Yeah, kind of neat. So it's a scented ink. So enjoy it. That's it. That was today's pen haul and a few things and why I take my own advice. I made a video called precisely that, why I take my own advice. And this is how I've arrived at some of my advice. So I've got one pen to work on. You know, I smoothed this one out a little bit already. It writes better than it did when I first got it, but I still got more work to go. So that's my pen haul. I've got more coming. This week, this is an awesome pen week for me. I've got plenty more coming by Friday. I'm going to have even more pens. By tomorrow, I'm expecting a few more pens according to shipping information. So catch you later.